Good day and welcome to the Bilibili third quarter 2022 financial results and business update conference call. Today's conference is being recorded. At this time, I would like to turn the conference over to Juliet Yang, Executive Director of Investor Relations. Please go ahead.
Thank you, operator. During this call, we'll discuss business outlook and make forward-looking statements. These comments are based on our predictions and expectations as of today. Actual events or results could differ materially from those mentioned in today's news release and in this discussion due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those mentioned in our most recent filing with the SEC and Hong Kong Stock Exchange. The non-GAAP financial measures we provide are for comparison purpose only. Definition of these measures and a reconciliation table are available in the news release we issued earlier today. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded. In addition, an investor presentation and a webcast replay of this conference call will be available on the Bilibili IR website at ir.bilibili.com. Joining us today from Bilibili senior management are Mr. Rui Chen, Chairman of the Board and Chief Executive Officer, Ms. Carly Li, Vice Chairwoman of the Board and Chief Operating Officer, and Mr. Sam Fan, Chief Financial Officer. And I will now turn the call over to Mr. Fan, who will read the prepared remarks on behalf of Mr. Chen.
Thank you, Juliet, and thank you everyone for participating in our third quarter 2022 results conference call. I'm pleased to deliver today's opening remarks on behalf of Mr. Chen. Our community, which is the foundation of our business and key to our long-term success, continued to expand. In the third quarter, DAUs reached more than 90 million and MAUs nearly 333 million, both up 25% year-over-year. Average daily time spent per user was 96 minutes in the third quarter, up 8 minutes from the same period last year. With that, the total time spent on Bilibili grew by 37% year-over-year. Having said that, we still face macro headwinds and uncertainties that loom over the industry. To cope with the challenging environment, we have reprioritized our goals and pivoted to focus on two key tactics that will help us turn the corner. First, our users. As our MAUs have reached a sizable base of nearly 333 million, we think it is time to shift our primary focus to DAU growth. DAUs not only represent the quality and the sustainability of our community, but also directly linked to our influential power as a platform, as well as various commercial prospects, particularly in terms of revenue generation from our advertising and VAS business. With our improving product offerings and the refined algorithms, we can continue to grow our DAU base and improve our DAU to MAU ratio with reduced sales and marketing spend. Second, we are committed to improving our financials by expanding our gross margin and narrowing our losses. After a challenging first half of the year, revenues in the third quarter grew to RMB 5.8 billion, up 18% quarter-over-quarter and 11% year-over-year. In the third quarter, we continue to take various actions to tighten our spending. Gross margin improved to 18%, up 3% points sequentially. Sales and marketing expenses as a percentage of total revenues were 21%, down 3% points sequentially. Our non-GAAP net loss ratio also narrowed by 10 percentage points compared with the prior quarter. Looking ahead, we will implement a number of additional cost control measures and further rationalize our marketing expenses and headcount planning. Specifically, we are streamlining our investment in R&D and cutting down on projects with lower chance of success, and being extra mindful when exploring new opportunities. At the same time, we are centralizing our resources in areas related to improving commercialization efficiency and user experience. These adjustments will be completed by the end of this year. Accordingly, we expect our sales, marketing, and R&D expenses to peak this year and start to decline in 2023, with net loss narrowing further accordingly. With that, I'd like to provide a brief update on our core pillars of content, community, and commercialization. Starting with content. Over the years, as the young generations on Bilibili grow up and enter into new stages of life, their interests evolve, driving creators' passions as well as the expansion of our content categories. So on top of our traditional strong content verticals, we have seen emerging categories such as automobile, home decoration, and interior design, and baby and maternity. In the third quarter, 3.8 million monthly active content creators on Bilibili readily accommodated these varied needs, creating near 16 million new videos on a monthly basis, a 40% and 54% year-over-year, respectively. The expanding content library drives the overall traffic growth on our platform. Total video views grow by 64% year-over-year, driven by both PUGV and story mode content, which grow by 34% and over 470% year-over-year, respectively. Particularly, with improving content distribution capabilities of story mode, content creators can build their fan base more easily, sharing their content with other kindred spirits on Bilibili. The various monetization paths we have cultivated for content creators continue to offer more creators more opportunities to make money while doing things they love. In the third quarter, over 1.2 million content creators earned income through multiple channels on Bilibili, up 74% year-over-year. Looking at our community, we consistently deepen our user engagement in our community with our featured and diverse content. As I mentioned earlier, the average daily user time spent reached a record high of 96 minutes, up 8 minutes from the same period last year. Our monthly interactions also increased 41% year-over-year to 14.4 billion. Furthermore, the number of official members on our site was up by 37% year-over-year to 183 million, maintaining a stable 12-month retention rate above 80%. Now, let's look at our commercialization and the prospects for near and long-term monetization. First, our VAS business. Our VAS revenues was RMB 2.2 billion, up 16% year-over-year in the third quarter. By further integrating live broadcasting with our PUGV ecosystem, we maintain our unique platform advantage. We had 67% more live broadcasting hosts in the third quarter this year than for the same period last year. The number of live broadcasting paying users increased by 79% year-over-year in the third quarter. The number of premium memberships for the third quarter grew 12% year-over-year to 20.4 million. In December, we plan to launch our self-produced Chinese anime title, The Three Body Problems. This highly anticipated title is expected to attract a wide range of sci-fi lovers to our platform. Looking at our advertising, despite softness in microenvironment, net revenues was RMB 1.4 billion, an increase of 16% year-over-year. We further strengthened our integrated marketing campaign offerings by combining diverse ad products and conversion modules across different video viewing scenarios. Story mode ads, as part of ad offerings, continue to capture more performance-based ad dollars in the third quarter. Our top advertising verticals in the third quarter were games, digital products and home appliance, skincare and cosmetics, automotive, and food and beverage. And for games, our game revenues grow 6% year-over-year to RMB 1.5 billion, largely driven by the new titles we launched in the domestic and overseas market in the third quarter. Develop in-house, distribute globally remains our core game strategy, which has started to bear fruit. Revenue generated from self-development games contribute 9% of our total game revenue in the third quarter. Looking at our pipelines, we have 2 games approved for domestic release this year and earlier next year, including 1 self-development title. 5 titles are slated to launch in the overseas markets early next year. Facing the market's macro uncertainties, our primary goal is clear: improving our gross profit margin and narrowing our net loss. By expediting our commercialization, we believe our top line can catch up with our community scale. While we remain committed to our goal of reaching non-GAAP operating break-even by 2024, we will also actively manage our cash position and liabilities. We believe we can weather through the macro uncertainties and emerge as a stronger, more efficient, and more resilient company. This concludes Mr. Chen's remarks. I will now provide a brief overview of our financial results for the third quarter of 2022 and the outlook for the fourth quarter of 2022. Total net revenues for the third quarter were RMB 5.8 billion, up 11% from the same period of 2021. Our total net revenue breakdown by revenue stream was approximately 25% mobile games, 38% VAS, 23% advertising, and 14% from the e-commerce and other business. Cost of revenues increased by 13% year-over-year to RMB 4.7 billion. Our gross profit in the third quarter was RMB 1.1 billion, and our gross margin was 18.2%. Gross margin recovered by 3.2 percentage points sequentially, attributable to the top-line growth. We expect to show continued sequential quarterly improvements in the first quarter and the coming year. Total operating expenses was RMB 2.9 billion, flattish compared with the same period of 2021. We cut sales and marketing expenses by 25% year-over-year to RMB 1.2 billion. Sales marketing expenses as a percentage of total revenues was also down to 21%, compared with the 31% in the same period last year. G&A expenses was RMB 543.4 million, up 14% year-over-year. The increase was primarily due to increased headcount in G&A personnel and higher rental expenses. R&D expenses was RMB 1.1 billion, representing a 43% increase year-over-year. The increase was primarily due to increased headcount in R&D and increased share-based compensation expenses. Net loss and adjusted net loss was RMB 1.7 billion and RMB 1.8 billion for the third quarter of 2022, respectively. We successfully narrowed our adjusted net loss ratio by 10 percentage points sequentially in Q3, and we expect the narrowing trend will continue in the fourth quarter and the coming years. Turning to our capital allocation and the liability management. We currently have 3 outstanding convertible bonds totaling $2.5 billion, among which the put right of $746 million is exercisable in June 2023. $429 million is accessible in April 2024, and $1.3 billion is accessible in December 2024. As of September 13, 2022, we had cash and cash equivalents, time deposits, and short-term investments of RMB 23.9 billion, or $3.4 billion. And we believe this level of liquidity is sufficient to repay the aggregate balance of all outstanding convertible bonds by their respective maturity. without considering any external funding resources available to us. Meanwhile, we are taking further actions to narrow our losses and reaching break-even. We'll be prudent with our CapEx and will closely monitor our cash outflow. At the same time, these convertible bonds are currently traded at discounted price, and we will continue to evaluate the option to repurchase and retire them at a reasonable price. As of October 31, 2022, we had repurchased and retired a total principal amount of $329 million of these notes for a total cash consideration of $247 million, generating $82 million net cash position. We will stay opportunistic when continuously evaluating options for the best use of our capital. Finally, our conversion from a secondary to a primary listing on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange became effective on October 3, 2022. Bilibili is now a dual primary listed company in Hong Kong and the United States. This conversation will further expand our investor base and provide more liquidity for our securities in the capital markets. With that in mind, we are currently projecting net revenues for the fourth quarter of 2022 to be between RMB 6.0 billion and RMB 6.2 billion. Thank you for your attention. We would now like to open the call to your questions. Operator, please go ahead.
Thank you. As a reminder, if you would like to ask a question, please press star 11 on your telephone and wait for your name to be announced. That's star 11 if you would like to ask a question. For the benefit of all participants on today's call, if you wish to ask your question to management in Chinese, please immediately repeat your question in English. Please limit your questions to one at a time. If you wish to have follow-up questions, please rejoin the queue. Please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. Thank you. We'll now take our first question. Please stand by. Your first question is from the line of Daniel Chen from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
晚上好，管理层谢谢接受我的问题啊。我的问题是关于这个用户增长这块，就是刚刚在这个 prepare remark 里面，管理层有提到将用户增长的重心放在 DAU 上，能不能阐述一下就是咱们未来这个用户增长的计划？谢谢。I will translate myself. So in the previous prepared remark, management mentioned that the user growth focus will switch into daily active user DAU. So could you maybe elaborate more about our future user growth strategy? Thank you.
我们以用户增长为中心的一个策略是在2019年提出的，然后那个时候呢，我们的 MAU 是在 1.1 个亿，所以的话就是我们在之前是一直以 MAU 为我们用户的一个指标，然后过去的3年我们从 1.1 个亿增长到了这个 Q 的 3.3 亿。
And we raised the centered around MAU strategy back in 2019. And in the past, we have successfully expanded our MAU from 110 million to nowadays 330 million. And this is quite successful and showed our excellent execution in the past few years.
我觉得过去3年就是3倍的那个 MAU 的增长，它证明了就是我们社区加生态驱动的这个增长模型是成功的，而且的话它也证明了就是 B 站能够在保持高质量用户的情况下能够高速的增长。
Well, if we're able to grow 3 times in the past few years, which supported the thesis that the Bilibili's business model, which is the community plus the content ecosystem, works and is quite successful and shows our ability to maintain a high quality, highly sticky community while deliver a very impressive user growth.
从我们今年的工作情况来看呢，我们觉得B 站的 MAU 其实还有不少的提升空间。我们 Q3 其实都做到了 25% 的同比增长。就如果照我们现在的这个增长模型发展下去，我认为明年4亿 MAU 的指标是一定能做到的。
Based on our 2022's work progress, we still see a lot of room for our MAU growth. Even in 3Q, we deliver 25% year-on-year growth. And if we carry on the current strategy, we believe we can still achieve the 400 million MAU target by next year.
在我们重视 MAU 增长的同时，其实从今年就是2022年开始，我们也非常重视 DAU 的增长，因为 DAU 相对 MAU 它更能够代表用户增长的质量和可持续性，并且 DAU 和平台的这个商业变现的一个价值更加的绑定。
Starting from 2022, we also put a lot of work in terms of the DAU growth because we do believe that DAU compared to MMU can present the quality of the user growth as well as the sustainability of the user growth. In addition, it also directly links to the commercial prospects of our community.
就在我看来，做大用户数它是一个目的，那个做高用户的价值，它是我们做大用户数是一个手段，做高用户的一个价值是我们的一个目的。然后其实最终MAU 的增长，它最终的结果，它其实就是 DAU 的一个增长。所以的话，就是大家可以看到，我们今年是非常重视提高 DAU 的和 MAU 的一个 ratio 的，就是它的这个 DAU 比 MAU 的比例，从去年的 26% 是提到了今年平均都有 27%。
Like I said, the growth is not the purpose, it's just a way to achieve our goal of increase the quality of our user. And in the end of the day, the growth of our MAU will directly link to the growth of DAU. And that's why starting from this year, we are putting more emphasis and resources to increase our DAU. And if you look at our DAU to MAU ratio, it has already improved from 26% in 2021 to 27% in 2022.
对，今年以来大家也都知道，就是在宏观的环境方面应该是出现了非常多的变化和挑战，所以的话就是我们也以把收窄亏损作为工作中非常非常重要的一个指标。在这种状况下，我们在用户增长方面，我们一定会更重视用户增长的质量。然后相对来说呢，就是我们把工作转到以 DAU 为主，一方面是有利于提高这个变现的效率和收入端的提升，另外一方面也能够减少那个 sales and marketing 的一个支出，然后让我们更快的去实现盈亏平衡。
As you may all aware that we are facing multiple challenges from the macro environment, and putting profitability at first is one of the most important tasks for the management. The reason why we're putting more emphasis to DAU instead of MAU, we believe from one aspect it can help us to increase the monetization efficiency, help us to grow our revenue, at the same time to reduce our sales marketing expenses and to achieve break even as soon as possible.
我们对 DAU 的增长肯定也是非常有信心的，而且的话我们认为这个增长会更持续，并且能够更有利于商业化。然后我们在做具体工作的时候，我们也会更加的重视那个 DM ratio 的一个持续提升。明年的话，我们会争取把 DM ratio 的这个比例争取提到 30%。
we are very confident to the DAU growth next year, and we believe this will be more sustainable for the whole company, as well as be very beneficial to our commercialization efforts. And as for the outlooks for next year, we hope to increase our DAU to MAU ratio to 30%.
随着这个工作重心的一个转移，我们在市场费用方面，我们控制的也会更好。其实我们在2002年开始已经开始控制市场费用了，大家可以看到 Q3 的市场费用同比下降是 25%。然后随着我们的这个工作重心的变化，在明年，也就是2023年，整体的市场费用会比2022年有着更大程度的一个下降。
Starting from 2022, we have already taken actions to control our sales and marketing expense. In Q3 this year, our sales and marketing expense already declined 25% year over year. As we're shifting our focus from MAU to DAU, we expect we can further reduce our sales and marketing expense, and the magnitude of the decline will be even bigger in 2023 compared to 2022. Operator, next question, please. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now take our next question. Please stand by. This is from the line of Lei Zhang from Bank of America. Please go ahead.
Hi, 管理层，晚上好，谢谢接受我的提问。我的问题主要是关于成本费用的，有看到我们3季度其实亏损有比较明显的收窄，可以分享一下 driver 还有未来有哪些成本和费用的项目可以有更大的空间改善呢？还有我们如何看长期的毛利率和利润率的趋势？然后可以请管理层 remind 一下我们现在的这个盈亏平衡的一个目标是不是有发生变化吗？谢谢，我自己翻一下。Thanks management for taking my question. My question is mainly on the profitability. Notice that our operating loss narrowed in the quarter. So how should we look at our gross margin and OP margin trend, and which cost item we see further room to control? Also, any change to our break-even target? Thank you.
去年底我们提出了在2024年盈亏平衡的这么一个目标，这个目标是不会有变化的。然后而且的话就是在今年多重宏观环境的挑战之下的话，其实减亏已经成为了公司最重要的工作之一，这是我亲自在盯的工作。
We raised the target of reach break even by end of 2024, and we'll stick to that mission and goal. And as we move through 2022, obviously there's been multiple challenges across the macro environment. To reduce loss and putting profitability at first is the priority for the company, and this is something I personally look after and taking charge.
在降低成本方面呢，就是我们现在已经在做并且见到那个效果的是有，比如说我们在 IT 成本方面的降低，我们单位带宽的成本是在持续降低的，而且我们的市场费用的降低，大家在这个季度也能够看得出来。
We have already taken actions to reduce our cost and expense, and so far the unit cost for our server and bandwidth continue to decline, and as I mentioned earlier, sales and marketing continue to decline year on year for 3 consecutive quarters. And
接下来我会关注的就是我们市场费用的更大程度的一个降低，然后这是一个未来持续的一个过程，包括我们公司内部的管理和研发费用的降低。
Move forward, we'll take more efforts to reduce our sales and marketing expense, as well as G&A and R&D expenses.
在管理效率方面，我会侧重于减少我们非核心业务的投入，把我们的资源都集中在核心业务，尤其是能够提高商业化效率的工作上。
In terms of the efficiency improvement, I intend to reduce investment on the non-core business and allocating and centralize our resources in areas that such as improving our commercialization efficiencies.
同时我们会优化组织结构，去肥增瘦，这部分的调整在今年内会完成，效果会在明年的第一季度大家就能看到。
At the same time, we'll also take actions to optimize our organizational structure, to reduce the fat and increase the lean, and we expect this adjustment will be completed by end of this year, and will start it to show on P&L starting from first quarter next year.
Yeah, I will take the question regard to the gross margin and expense trend. As the company take on more actions to reduce cost and prioritize profitability, we expect our gross margin will gradually increase going forward. Sales marketing expense in 2022 has already declined year-over-year, as mentioned by our chairman, and will continue to decline next year. And we expect R&D expenses, which will peak in Q4 this year and start to decline next year. In 2023 and the future period, we expect overall operating expenses in absolute dollar terms will decline year-over-year, and net loss will further narrow down until reach our break-even target. At the same time, we will pay very close attention to our cash flow and tightly control CapEx and investment as we narrow our losses. We aim to keep our cash balance at a healthy level.
Thank you. Operator, we can take the next question.
Thank you. Please stand by. Next question is from the line of Xiqing Zhang from CICC. Please go ahead.
管理层晚上好，谢谢接受我提问。这边想请教一下关于广告的问题。那刚刚有提到就新冠疫情以及宏观偏弱的一个大环境，那想了解一下 B 站广告业务如何去应对，然后我们怎么展望四季度和明年的增速。此外也在双11期间注意到公司有带货相关的一些广告产品，那能不能请管理层就展开分享一下。最后也想问一下，就是在当前时间点我们是否会考虑推出前贴片广告。谢谢。My question regards to advertising, considering the impact of COVID-19 and the weak macro environment, what's your strategy for advertising business, and how should we think about revenue growth in the first quarter and next year? In addition, during the Double 11, we noticed that Bilibili has advertising products related to content e-commerce. Could management share more details about it? And also want to know, is Bilibili considering launching pre-roll ads at the present? Thank you.
今年在这个环境还是比较复杂，也充满挑战的，包括这个经济的宏观条件、疫情等等，大家都清楚。三季度的话 ，B 站的广告收入达到了13.5亿，同比增长依旧有16%吧，就是还是在整个大环境下保持一个比较好的增速。效果形态的广告的涨幅也超过了50%。同时我们也看到了在广告收入上的市场占有率还是有持续的提升的。
Despite weakened macro environment, the ad revenue in third quarter reached 1.35 billion, and increased 16% year-over-year. We consider this is a job well done, and especially the ad revenue from performance-related formats increased by over 20% year-over-year, and we are continue to take market share in the ad market.
在2023年，我们还是会持续提升整合营销的能力，还有一点也会加强在 B 站社区里面的正向的商业氛围，更帮更多的广告主可以在不同的屏幕也不同的场景，在不同的时间点能同时触达 B 站的年轻用户。
这更方便品牌用户去建立他们的心智资产，这个是我们会持续在2023年加强的。
In 2023, we plan to continue to enhance our integrated marketing capability and to build a friendly and welcoming environment for advertisers. And we will continue to help advertisers to effectively reach our young generation through Bilibili's multiple products and multiple using scenarios and help them to build their brand equity.
但同时的话，我们也会把广告业务像上 Q 我们提到的一样，会进一步的结合内容生态的优势品类去发展，包括提升它的广告库存的供给，也同时会加快推动消费和交易的在社区里的势能。
And we intend to further combine our content ecosystem with our ad business, particularly in those in our leading verticals, increase our ad inventory and accelerate ad momentum in the consumption and transaction scenarios.
例如像游戏啊、3C 数码，B 站已经占市场占有率应该是前5了。那再例如像大快消品类，像食品饮料啊、美容美妆，是属于年轻人生活很必须使用的商品，其实在 B 站的广告收入上也持续做到了增长。还有未来有一些比较趋势大的品类，我们看到像汽车、像母婴、像家装家电，都是随着年轻人在 B 站社区的成长，看到巨大的潜力。那汽车在 Q3 同比增速也超过了 80%。
For example, we are already among the top 5 market player in verticals like game and 3C and digital products. Another example would be for FMCG ads, which are part of young generation's necessity, continue to grow, such as food and beverage, skincare, and cosmetics. And as we move forward, we expect verticals like automotive, baby and maternities, and home decor and appliances will have great potentials, especially as the young generation continue to grow with Bilibili as they enter different life stages. And in Q3, actually, the automotive sector grew over 80% year-on-year within Bilibili.
刚才就是您提到的带货，也是所谓在行业内大家会喜欢提到带货这个词，在 B 站社区生态里面，我更乐意会把它定位跟理解为消费跟交易的一种表现形式。消费跟交易是 B 站社区一个比较基础的建设了，也才就在基础建设以下，它才是一个 B 站最重要的一个商业化的消费场景。2023年，我们会进一步的会把交易接入社区，也会把交易进一步的接入广告体系。
You mentioned about the content e-commerce. I would rather define the content e-commerce in Bilibili ecosystem as a consumption and transaction scenario. First of all, it's an infrastructure for us, and it is also one of the very important scenarios for commercialization. In 2023, we plan to further connect the transaction scenario with Bilibili community and with advertising business.
就例如在最近2个 Q， 我们都已经跟淘宝、天猫、京东、拼多多以及品牌广告主一起，也尝试进行了在 B 站进行种草消费，同时交易转化的探索。就是看到了视频包括直播有带货的内容，但是加入 B 站的有特色的广告投流的组合。我们在这种形式上，其实在这种类似的案例上，我们可以不断的挖掘 B 站在消费交易不同场景的商业价值。
For example, in the past 2 quarters, together with Taobao, Tmall, Jingdong, Pinduoduo, and other brand advertisers, we are already starting to explore the seeding, consumption, and transaction model. including video and live broadcasting-based e-commerce, as well as traffic acquisition within the Bilibili community. With that, we hope to explore the different commercial values of Bilibili unique consumption and transaction scenario.
在双11当天，在逆势上 ，B 站的广告收入还是同比增长了47%，效果形态广告的收入同比增长也超过了80%。在未来 ，B 站的整个消费跟交易的形态还是会做足够的大开环，也欢迎更多的品牌，还有就电商，会跟所有的电商平台跟品牌主一起去把社区的势能，还有消费者的势能尽可能的放大。
During this year's Double 11, despite the weakened macro environment, we still recorded a 47% year-on-year growth for our advertising revenue, among which the performance-based formats of advertising revenue grow over 80%. And in the future, we are looking to further expand and be very open about the transaction and consumption scenario. We welcome more of the brand advertiser to join us to further explore the commercial value within our unique ecosystem.
刚才你也提到另外一个是要贴片广告，其实贴片广告已经是很传统的广告形态了，市场在贴片的收入仅占3%到5%，占比其实萎缩也很快。单价也越来越低，所以市场对于贴片广告的判断在 B 站能落地是过于乐观的。B 站的内容大多还是集中在2到5分钟，所有的内容如果都采取贴片这种形式，收入其实还是会比较少，但是又会极其破坏用户体验，所以得不偿失的一种传统的广告形态跟模式，基于 B 站是不会轻易去尝试的。
As for the pre-roll, which is an old-fashioned format of advertising, it actually only takes about 3 to 5% of the overall advertising market in China, and it's declining rapidly along with its unit price. We believe some people might have been overly optimistic about the pre-roll's potential within Bilibili. And most of the Bilibili content are about 2 to 5 minutes long. If we add pre-roll to all of them, it will only generate very limited income, but be extremely disruptive to user experience. We believe it will bring more harm than the good, which we will be very cautious to try out.
这里可以举一些例子。就例如，如果是在 B 站上能实现原生广告、弹幕广告等视频播放器内的一些创新广告形态是很好的尝试，或者又例如就是我们可以利用转化组件包括 CPS 组合的方式去实现游戏的新的投放模型，像我们可能内部叫游戏合伙人。对，又或者就第三种，又或者我们举个例子是新增的 Story， 它也是一个很好的广告形态的展现的载体，后续 story 的增量都会成为广告收入提升的增长点。那之后其实我也会发现包括 B 站看到的视频商单，包括直播商单加起飞的模型，其实它依靠的是视频的推广模型，加上我们的算法模型的迭代能力可以加强的话，这也会对我们广告收入有比较大的增长。我觉得以上只是举了一些我们已经进行或者会积极尝试的一些例子，都会比贴片更能获得广告收入，而且这个增长会持续而且很健康。
I'll give you some examples of how are we exploring the app formats that's more adaptive to Bilibili's ecosystem. For example, we can explore within the video player frame, such as native ads, bullet chat ads, and other innovative formats within the player frame. Or we can explore the model that combines performance-based ads with both app download conversion module and CPS, we call it a game partner model. And another example would be the story mode ads, which we believe is a very good format to carry on the performance-based ads. And as the story mode traffic continue to grow, it will open more ad inventory to us. Lastly, it would be the content e-commerce plus user acquisition within the Bilibili model. We'll continue to refine and optimize our algo to improve those performance-based ad efficiency. All of above mentioned formats of advertising, we believe will generate higher income as well as it's more sustainable to our overall community.
我们还是十分有信心，在2023年，广告业务整体表现还能持续优于整个行业大盘，做到健康增长，也会进一步的提高市场的占有率。谢谢。
We're still very, very confident that our ad business in 2023 will continue to outperform the overall industry and will continue to take on more market share. Thank you. Operator, next question, please.
Thank you. We'll now take our next question. Please stand by. This is from the line of Lincoln Kong from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
好，谢谢管理层。那我想问一下这个游戏业务这边，我们也看到就是魏总你现在就是自己接手了游戏这个业务啊，所以往这个之后看，我们游戏业务这边的这个战略和目标你这边会有什么样的一些变化？那么我们最近这个游戏的版号也是重启发放，那未来公司对整体的这个游戏业务的一个增长的预期尤其是我们的自研游戏以及海外游戏的拓展可不可以跟我们分享一下最新的战略和进展？So my question is about the gaming business. Given that Mr. Chen Wei, you have personally taken control of the game business, what's our sort of strategy and target and change post your taking over and after the resumption of the game ban, how's the company looking for our overall gaming business growth outlook, especially our self-developed games as well as the overseas gaming strategy and progress. Thank you.
我记得我在2019年我就提出，就是视频和游戏是 B 站的主业就是所谓主业，那就是一家公司里面最核心的业务。我们比较早就在做游戏这个业务，其实 B 站做游戏这个业务它是个自然而然的结果因为 B 站是中国游戏用户聚集度最高的平台，同时的话就是我们的直播和视频的内容里面有很多是与游戏相关的内容，而且的话我们在做的这个原创动画和原创漫画的 IP 跟游戏也有很强的协同，所以呢就是游戏成为 B 站的核心业务，它是个自然而然的结果。
I raised the strategy of putting video and game as Bilibili's core business back in 2019. As a matter of fact, Bilibili is starting to explore game business from very early days. Actually, Bilibili is the platform that has the most condensed and concentrated gamer in China. At the same time, we have lots of content offerings in terms of live broadcasting and video on our platform. At the same time, the areas that we invested in the original animation and comics has great synergies with our game business. So naturally, it's just a natural extension and natural course for Bilibili to put game at our core.
就是过去2年那个我觉得我们的游戏业务的发展不如我的预期主要的原因是 我认为我们的在游戏自研方面我们走了一些弯路。我觉得过去2年我们的游戏自研铺得太开，就是多个团队同时在多个方向探索，然后这种方法造成的结果呢，必然是浅尝辄止，贪多但是无果。
In the past 2 years, the game business didn't perform as well as we planned, which I believe is mainly due to the slower than expected self-developed game progress. And the reason is that we were exploring in multiple directions by multiple teams at once, but end up spreading too thin and only just to dabble on many, but didn't bear fruit.
我亲自负责游戏这个业务，其实并不是会把游戏业务的战略和目标去做什么变化，反而的话，我会更坚定以前提出的自研精品全球发行的一个战略，也会就是更强调游戏业务是 B 站主业的这一个定位，它并不是和过去相比有什么变化，相反可能是真正的把过去我们强调的战略落到实处，这个是我接手游戏业务之后要做的事儿。
As I personally take on the game business, it doesn't mean we are making any change to our original strategy. As a matter of fact, we will carry on more diligently to that strategy, which is develop high quality game in-house and distribute globally, and putting game business at our core.
在游戏自研方面，我会只聚焦1到2个方向，集中我们的精力和资源做最少的事儿，但是要做就朝着行业最好去做。
I intend to focus on only 1 or 2 directions, focusing our best resource and our energy on doing the least but the best towards the highest industry standard.
同时我会强化对于我们公司内部自研项目生命周期的管理，对于符合预期的项目我们会加强投入，对于不符合预期的项目我们会快速迭代掉。
At the same time, I will strengthen the lifecycle management of our self-development projects to increase investment in projects that meet expectations and quickly iterate out projects that do not meet the expectations.
接下来我对于游戏业务我的要求就是踏踏实实的做好产品和业务，然后我也相信就是因为有 B 站平台的这个土壤，所以的话我们未来无论是游戏自研还是游戏的发行都能够取得持续的增长。
Moving forward, my requirement for the game business will be to be very, very down to earth and do our best to produce the best product and try our best to enhance the business, because we have the perfect environment in game content. I'm still very confident whether it's self-developed games or licensing games, we can deliver sustainable growth in the sector. Operator, next question, please. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll now take our next question. Please stand by. This is from the line of Yuan Zhang from China Renaissance. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层先生我的提问。我的问题是关于那个直播业务的，因为在上一轮组织架构升级之后，像直播跟点播一体化运营也有一段时间嘛，就想请公司分享一下那边新的战略，以及对那个直播业务的一个展望吧。 So my question is regarding live broadcasting. So the integration between the live broadcasting and the video streaming has been on for a while. Can you share more color on the strategy and discuss our expectation about live streaming business? Thank you.
我们直播业务的表现还是符合我们的预期的。在前3个季度，我们直播业务的同比增长是 30%， 而且的话，不仅是我们的营收在增长，我们的毛利率也在稳步提升。
We think the live broadcasting business has met our expectations this year. The first 3 quarters this year, our live broadcasting revenue grew by 30% year-on-year, and our live broadcasting's gross margin also starting to recover this year.
我过去一直说，直播是 B 站平台的一种能力，它是 B 站内容生态的一个自然延伸。其实，这句话也代表了就是我们做直播的一个思维，那就是最大可能的结合 B 站的内容生态，实现视频和直播的正循环。
As I mentioned in the past, we have always believed live broadcasting is a capability for the platform. It's a natural extension of the video format of content, and our strategy has always been combine the live broadcasting ecosystem with our video ecosystem to generate best synergies among these two.
对，我们在具体工作中，我们会挖掘供给侧的一个重叠，那就是让 UP 主成为主播，让主播成为 UP 主。然后我们在 Q3 看到的这个数据是，就是既做 UP 主又做主播的这样的人，他的同比增长是 73%。这个是一个非常高速的一个增长，它代表的其实也是我们在供给侧的一个能力的提升。
From the supply of content side, we have continuously explored within our ecosystem to convert our content creators to host and convert our hosts to content creators. In Q3, content creator / host, the number of those content creator / host has increased 73% year-over-year, which is a quite impressive growth. And this demonstrates how our strategy is working, and we are increasing the supply side of the content.
对，同时的话，就是我们也重视挖掘消费侧的一个重叠，就是我们可以看到，就是我们有越来越多的用户既看这个品类的视频，也看这个品类的直播，然后这个不仅提高了我们直播的 DAU 渗透率，同时也提高了我们的付费率。我们可以看到，就是我们直播的 MPU 同比增长是 79%， 这个也是来自于我们对于消费侧的一个挖掘。
We are also exploring from the demand side to discover the users that they might be both interested in the same vertical of content, whether it's in the format of video or it's in the format of live broadcasting. And in the third quarter, we've seen the DAU penetration of live broadcasting continue to increase, and the MPU for live broadcasting also recorded a 79% year-on-year growth. This is also very, very impressive growth.
在上个季度呢，我们是在公司的这个组织结构上，把视频的运营和直播的运营就是整合成了同一个部门。然后这个部门呢，它既去做 UP 主的运营，也去做主播的运营。它既关注看视频的用户，也关注在直播里面消费的用户。然后我觉得这个组织结构确确实实更大程度的提升了我们视频跟直播的这个正循环。
Last quarter, we have combined the operation of live broadcasting with the PUGV, and from an organizational perspective, it's the same team that's looking over the content creators operation as well as the live broadcasting host operation. And it's also the same team that's paying attention to which user is watching certain content category and what kind of live broadcasting content he or she might be interested in. We believe this change are really lining up and aligning our goals of our operation target, at the same time to increase our overall organizational efficiency.
而且的话，就是这个组织结构的整合还带来了一个好处，那就是对于相同的内容品类视频的运营跟直播的运营整合成一个团队之后，然后你会发现就是他们能够发现很多新的运营方式比如说像我们的虚拟主播的这个品类，然后它通过把虚拟开播跟视频的素材库更好的整合起来，它是能够更大的提升我们虚拟主播的开播率的。
And we're combining of the operation for the same vertical in terms of live broadcasting and PUGV. And for example, in terms of the V-up content categories, now we are opening up the video materials or video inventory to both VTubers as well as the virtual content creators. This has significantly increased the live broadcasting hosts' frequency of opening up their live broadcasting program and increased our overall content supply.
比如说过去我们认为好像知识这个品类的 UP 主是不适合直播的，但后来发现我们在组织结构整合了以后，发现并非如此。就是我们比如说在法律这个品类的知识的这个 UP 主或者说是在情感这个品类的一些知识区的 UP 主，他可以直播和这个用户连线答疑，然后这个答疑的效果还非常好我们因此还诞生了这个因为直播涨粉100万的做法律内容的 UP 主。就是其实这些新的运营方式都在这个组织结构整合以后我们挖掘出来了。
Another example would be the knowledge sector. In the past, we might think that for the knowledge sector content creator, it's difficult for them to monetize through live broadcasting. However, we've discussed in the law area or in the relationship areas, it's very suitable for the live broadcasting host to connect directly with the participants and do a Q&A session. And actually, we have seen one live broadcasting host to gain her 1 million follower milestone just through the live broadcasting services. So this will be another example after the integration of the two operations, we can explore new opportunities.
所以我很有信心的是，我觉得随着我们的直播跟视频更好的去结合，在2023年，就是我们直播业务的收入，包括我们的毛利率都会有显著的上升。
As such, I'm very confident as the integration further penetrate within the live broadcast and PUGV, the live broadcasting revenue as well as its gross margin will continue to increase in 2023. Back to you, operator. I think that's about time for the Q&A session today.
Thank you. That does conclude the question and answer session. So I would like to turn the conference back over to Juliet Yang for any additional or closing remarks.
Well, thank you once again for joining us today. If you have further questions, please contact me, Juliet Yang, Bilibili Executive IR Director, or TPG Investor Relations. Our contact information for IR in both China and the US can be found on today's press release. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. This does conclude the conference for today. Thank you for participating, and you may now disconnect.